Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakudash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakaya, from the GMS Orlando camp. And tonight I wanted to speak on the importance of rehearsal and repetition. All right, the importance of rehearsal and repetition. And the inspiration for tonight's lesson comes from a conversation I was having earlier today, in which led me to realize how certain habits that we've picked up in this truth of ours are starting to become more natural, which is a result of rehearsal and repetition. All right, there's a certain creed that we've been learning to live by that only comes through rehearsal and repetition. All right, and it's important for us of the hopefully elect to continue to rehearse these righteous acts and to continue to repeat these righteous acts. All right, because in this rehearsal and repetition, there's a certain skill set that the Lord is building within his hopefully elect. All right, and when you go into that word skill in the etymology online, all right, real quick, it reads power of discernment. All right, and right now the Lord is building our power of discernment on how to discern between good and evil. All right, how to flow more in the spirit and how to abstain from carnality. All right, who we should learn from and who we shouldn't. All right, how to discern from good and evil. All right, good and bad. All right, the Lord is building our power of discernment through this rehearsal. All right, through this repetitive nature of the word. All right, because the nature of the truth itself is very repetitive. All right, the Lord himself is very repetitive. All right, and the reason being is because the Lord is trying to build a certain skill set within us that is going to come naturally in the time of trouble. All right, because right now what's going on is the rehearsal. All right, before game day, and game day is going to be the hour of temptation and the day of Jacob's trouble. All right, so before game day, the Lord is allowing us to rehearse these righteous acts so that we build a certain skill set, a certain natural skill set that'll allow us, or that'll be the stability of our times and the strength of our salvation, pursuant to Isaiah 33:6. All right, but tonight I had a couple of scriptures lined up that I want to get into. Lord's willing, is edifying unto the elect. All right, the whole point of tonight's lesson being to rehearse these righteous acts, all right, and to not be disenchanted by the repetitiveness of this word. All right, because the truth itself is very repetitive. All right, you may ask yourself, well, damn, why do we go through, or why do I hear brothers bringing out the same precept, the same prophecy week in and week out? I had the same breakdowns every week. Why? All right, and the reason being is because there's a certain skill set the Lord is trying to build within us. All right, that comes through the repetition of the word. All right, that comes through the repetition of going through these things over and over and over so that they become natural unto us. All right, just like praying, all right, fasting, reading, keeping our high holy days, keeping the Sabbath, all right, putting our faith in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua to be our rock and our defense. All right, just like these things are starting to become more natural unto us, flowing in the spirit, and our power of discernment is becoming more natural unto us through the repetition of this word, which is why it's important to rehearse these righteous acts and to repeat these righteous acts constantly. All right, so without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so let's get the definition of repetition of the etymology online. And it reads, act of saying over again, a repeating, to do or say again. All right, now let's get this here in Judges chapter 5 and 11, because there's a certain action and a certain speech that's supposed to be repetitive in this walk of ours. All right, and that is these righteous acts. This is Judges 5 and 11. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers, which is symbolic of the thermonuclear destruction coming to America, in the places of drawing water, which is representative of our captivities, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. All right, so we are to rehearse these righteous acts. And what are the righteous acts? Prayer, fasting, reading, studying, preaching, all right, going out on the highways and byways, all right, participating in the holy days, all right, participating in keeping the Sabbath, All right, these are part of the righteous acts that we're supposed to be rehearsing here in these latter days, because these are the things that are building our faith. All right, everything that the Lord has us rehearsing in these latter days are things that are building our character, things that are building our skill, our ability. All right, which are going to be needful in the times that we're coming into. All right, the skills that brothers are acquiring right now in this time of liberty are going to be highly sought after in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, people are going to want the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we're being allowed to rehearse right now in the time of trouble. They're going to want to know why these things are happening to the earth. They're going to know how they're going to get out of this situation. They're going to want to know who's bringing this. All right, they're going to know why or how they're going to get out of the situation. You know, they're going to want answers. All right, and through the Spirit, Lord willing, we're counting that number. We're going to have those answers because we've been rehearsing the answers. All right now in this time of liberty. And what we're rehearsing now is going to be the strength and the stability of our times, pursuant to Isaiah 33:6. All right, we're gaining wisdom. We're gaining knowledge and understanding. We're gaining faith through the repetition and the rehearsal of this word. All right, daily, brothers are learning how to apply the wisdom to their lives. Brothers are learning what is good for their spirit, what's not. You know, brothers are learning to trust Yahweh Shem Yahushai more, to put more faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And this is a daily thing. All right, daily our faith is increased. Daily our wisdom is increased. Daily our understanding is increased through the repetition and the rehearsal of this word. All right, so it's very important for us to rehearse these righteous acts. All right, and in order for us to rehearse these righteous acts, your mind has to be in a certain occupation. All right, which, let's get this in Ecclesiastes. Sirach 39. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." All right, and it's important for our minds to be occupied in this word so that our body follows. All right, and when you think about an occupation, oftentimes it's what you do for a living. All right, when somebody asks you what your occupation is, some people say, "Oh, I'm a warehouse worker," or "I'm a construction worker," or "I'm in IT, I fix computers for a living." All right, and that's something that you do daily. All right, that's something that you rehearse on a daily basis. All right, if you're an IT person, you work on computers, you fixing computers all day, every day. 8-10 hours out of the week. 8-10 hours daily. All right, 40 plus hours a week. You constantly doing it. All right, you constantly repeating the same action. You constantly rehearsing, putting together the same pieces. And that's what we're to do through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai with this truth. All right, this truth is our first occupation. All right, and we're supposed to be occupied in reading, fasting, praying, all right, preaching. All right, we're supposed to be constantly rehearsing these things. You know, and somebody that's in IT, over time, man, building a computer and fixing a computer is natural. It's easy. It comes easy to them. They already know the problem. When they see it, they already know what's going on. Oh, that's a certain code that needs this certain drive, or that needs this certain code to fix that. You know, it's natural. All right, when they see certain things, it just clicks. This is what I need to do. And through the Spirit, that's what the Lord is training us up to do in the Spirit. All right, he's training us up to see certain problems and, okay, I know what to do. The MOTB, the RFID microchip, all right, we shouldn't take that. By now, that should be beat in our heads, man. All right, the elders, apostles, the great millstone on down, constantly beat that in our head, man. All right, we know that prophecy of Revelation 13:16, man. All right, the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. And if you don't know that by now, then you need to get to know it. All right, or else you're going to be found in the baddest state, man. All right, but these things are some of the things that's been beat in our head, all right, that we've been constantly rehearsing and going over. All right, so that when we see it, it's like, okay, we've been rehearsing for this. I've seen this before. I know the answer to this, you know, and that's what the Lord is training us up to do now, because pretty soon, pursuant to Job 40:7, the Lord is getting ready to demand an answer from his elect. And if you haven't been rehearsing to give that right answer, more than likely you ain't going to get a right answer. You know, if you get what I'm trying to say. But it says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. All right. And our main occupation is to be occupied in prophecy. All right. To constantly watch for the prophecies going on in the earth. All right. Because that is our indicator on when the Lord is getting ready to make his second return. All right. But let's get this in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. All right, so we have to occupy our minds with this word day in and day out. All right, the rehearsal of these prophecies, all right, the rehearsal of these dark sayings, these parables, has to be in constant repetition in our mind. Constant repetition in our mind so that we may have good success and we may prosper. All right. Let's get this. In Deuteronomy chapter 6. And we're going to start at verse 6. It says, "And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. And it shall be when the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, thy God, shall have brought thee into the land which he sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob, to give thee great and goodly cities which thou buildest not, and houses full of all good things which thou fieldest not, and wells dig which thou diggest not, vineyards and olive trees which thou plantest not. When thou shalt have eaten and be full, then beware lest thou forget the Lord, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage." All right, so when the Lord gave us commandment, he intended for us to rehearse these commandments every chance we get. All right, it says, going back up in verse 7, "And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up," meaning at all times. All right, our mind is supposed to be occupied in the word of the Lord, lest we forget the Lord. All right, because if you're not occupied in these dark sins and these prophecies, you'll forget about them, man. If you don't participate in this rehearsal, if you don't repeat these things daily, you'll eventually lose it. You'll eventually forget about it, man. And that's not something that we want to do here in these other days. We want to stay as sharp as possible. All right, we want to be on our A game, and that comes through rehearsal. All right, it comes through repetition. You know, so don't be shunned away from the repetition of this word. All right, participate in this rehearsal. It's important to participate in this rehearsal because pretty soon rehearsal is going to be over and it's going to be game time. Then it's going to be up to what you've been doing, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you've been storing up in this time of liberty. All right, the faith that you've been storing up in this time of liberty. All right, so take this rehearsal seriously. All right, because as we continue to rehearse these righteous acts, the Lord is building our faith. All right, he's building us up daily. All right, daily there's growth going on within the ministry. Daily there's growth going on within brothers and sisters' lives, man. Daily. All right, daily the Lord is causing us to grow through the rehearsal of this word. And certain things that we once thought to be foreign are starting to become natural to us. All right, which is a good thing. You know, but with that being said, that's all I had to say. Shalom. Stay up.